Welcome to the Moms Club. I am Andrea, and this is our second year homeschooling my 7-year-old who is in second grade. On my last video, I talked about how we abandoned Matthew C, and we had to find something else to replace it. And this something else, before I tell you exactly what it was and how it's going, I want to tell you that I really went into a rabbit hole with math and what would be a good balance between mastery and spiral, because I felt like my daughter didn't really do so well with that level of spiral that The Good and the Beautiful offers, and she also didn't love the hard drills, repetitive, boring worksheets from Matthew C, and I had to find something that was in the middle, and that in the middle thing was Singapore math. Now, when I talk about the rabbit hole, I am talking about the rabbit hole within Singapore math, because there are many options. There is primary mathematics, and there is dimensions, and within primary mathematics there is the US version, there is the Common Core, and there is the 2022 edition. So I'm like, what do I do? Which one do I go with? And it turns out that I didn't know what to do. At first, I didn't know there were all these different options, and I figured that the 2022 edition would be the newest, best version of the curriculum until we got them. And my daughter started working with the two-way book, and I quickly realized that despite following the teacher's guide, which they do have a homeschool guide, but I didn't realize that until I bought this one, which is fine. I was able to follow just fine. I realized that the information is very concise, and it is very shallow, and it doesn't teach a lot of the whys, and it doesn't really go very deep. It felt a little shallow, really, and my daughter started just complaining about it again. She went from like, oh, this is cute and colorful and cartoonish, like, it's really cute. Look, the book is really cute. It's got a lot of little cartoon characters, and it looks so fun, and then there's little graphic like chats here, kind of like a comic book. Anyways, it looked super fun, but it was very quick. The lessons were done within 10 minutes, which sounds great, right? Yeah, if you just want to check boxes and finish books, it sounds great. But if you really want your kids to love learning and understanding why, if you don't want them to just like memorize procedures and formulas, if you want them to develop their brain and ask questions, this just isn't enough. And so I went on to this rabbit hole to find out what's up with Singapore math and why it is that I am not so impressed with it. And it turns out that the 2022 edition was created for homeschooling, and that they did that. They combined all the books into this one little thin book with very little practice, and you would definitely have to supplement. And I think this could work if your kid just understands math really quickly and they pick up very easily. This with a supplement, something to supplement, would work great, like Beast Academy Online, for example. I think it would work, but I didn't think it was enough for us. So I went to look and understand what's up with all these versions of Singapore math. Which one is the good one? And it turns out that Singapore math, I'm not gonna go into why Singapore math was created. I watched so many videos, and every time people started repeating that one more time, I just want to turn off the video. I don't need to hear why Singapore math came about and why it ended up in the US. You guys probably already know. What matters for us to know is that the US version was the first original version created. It's the one that most closely is similar to the original Singapore method Okay, so the best, the most rigorous books out there for mathematics in elementary years is the US version, Primary Mathematics. Then after that, they created the dimensions. Dimensions would be your middle range there. It is challenging, but it's not as rigorous as the US edition. And then there is Primary Mathematics 2022 edition, which is the simpler, the least rigorous. It's more cartoonish, fun. For us that choose to homeschool, to give a level of education to our kids, I would say this is not it. I'm not saying that this is bad. This is not bad. And probably even doing this, they would be ahead of the curve compared to their peers that are going to public school, honestly. That's what I think. Okay, just to clarify, I'm not bashing this. I think this is great, but there is better. There is better. And the better is either Dimensions, which is kind of similar to this and how fun and colorful it is, but a little bit better quality. And then there is the US edition, which is the edition that we're going to be going with. Now, I am not going to be doing this alone. I think there has been a lot of power struggle and a lot of conflict with my daughter when it came to teaching her math, because she doesn't want to do it, and it's easier for her to push back with me than it is to push back with a teacher. She couldn't push back with Matthew C because there was a video lesson to be done every Monday, and she had to be done with her work for the week to start that class the next day. So that kept her accountable. And it wasn't watching a video from Science Mama, I believe. It was her video about how she quit primary math, and I don't know which version she was using. Maybe she was using the US version. I am not sure. But I was reading the comments, and someone said, actually, there are video lessons. Go look at Singapore Math Live. And so I went to see, and they did have it. And I ended up buying, and what I didn't know when I bought it, and it was really cheap, it was $55. I mean, for me, that's more than worth it. It's worth it. $55 for someone to teach the textbook to my daughter and for her to just do the practice, someone to tell her that she needs to do the practice, that's worth it. That's worth it for me. It is. Okay? So I bought it. And after I bought it, I went to look at the material, and it said, oh, you need to have this book, that book, and the other book. And I was like, I don't have any of that. I only have the teacher's guide. I only have the workbook, the student book, and that's it. This is all there is. There's no textbook, it's all combined into one. And so I called her, Brenda, her name, and she told me, oh yes, no, this is for the US edition. And then she went to explain to me how the US edition is the original one, it's the actual Singapore method, and how rigorous it is, and how she found out the best way to take advantage of the program and to get the kids to be proficient in math. And so she basically convinced me to put this one aside and get the US version. So we're gonna try the US edition, and I bought the whole thing. I mean, I've mentioned before how much money and how much time we have wasted in trying to find the right curricula for my daughter. We found ourselves in everything else except for math. I'm hoping that this is gonna be it. She's gonna be taking the classes. I printed the weekly schedule, and it tells you what pages she's gonna be studying. You can't really see here. It tells you what pages of the workbook she needs to do, what practice pages she needs to do, what challenging word problems she's gonna have to do for that week. And then it just tells you how much work she needs to do, what she's gonna be working on. And my hope is that she will just come with a highlighter and highlight the work that she's done and that she's gonna complete, and she's gonna see this get filled, and she's gonna be excited about completing the book. The schedule for the year is 34 weeks, so we're in great shape. We're going to be receiving the books in the next couple days, I'm assuming. I hope that we're gonna have it by Monday, so we can start the week and start math. We've started homeschool 3 weeks ago, so we are 3 weeks in, and this last week that I decided that we're ditching primary mathematics 2022 edition. We just did a bunch of math facts from Math Facts That Stick. And we're also still supplementing with Beast Academy Online, which is something that we do, I don't know, 2 to 3 times a week. It just depends on how many times we can fit it in there, but we try to get at least a couple times a week. And I feel that really helps to cover that part of the, logic, critical thinking aspect of math that we don't find regularly in math books, right? So I'm excited. I'm excited to see where this is going to go. Like I mentioned before, maybe math is just going to be one of those things that it won't click for her until she hits puberty, which is exactly what happened to me. And I was doing some research on that and how there's a part of our brain that only develops when we hit puberty, and that would be like this mathematical brain, and it makes perfect sense. I wasn't top of class at all, not even close in math, while I was top of class in language arts. And once I hit that little 7th grade, maybe I had an amazing teacher, maybe it was the puberty, I was a little bit of a late bloomer. I became top of class, and from then on I became great. Math became one of my favorite subjects, except nothing beats language arts, and that's why I am so passionate about my daughter's language arts education. And this is gonna be the very next video that I'm going to record while I'm sitting here with all of her books. So next video, you're gonna see what we're doing for language arts in 2nd grade, and this is something that I am so passionate about. I am so happy with everything we have. My daughter is thriving, and it's been amazing. So stay tuned. I hope this video was informative, entertaining, or helpful in any way, and if it was, make sure to like it, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you next time. Let's talk language arts. Ciao, ciao.